Hello, everybody. This topic is one of the most fascinating ones for me, and it's going to address the question: how did Prince Harry fall from Meghan so quickly? We're going to talk about love bombing and emotional enmeshment. We're going to talk about how their relationship followed a textbook pattern seen in toxic dynamics. Meghan has positioned herself as his rescuer, reinforcing his deepest fears and vulnerabilities. In this video, we'll talk about all of the psychological tactics that accelerated their bond and how you can also recognize these in your own life. If you've ever felt trapped in a whirlwind romance, this video is for you. But before we get into it, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's relationship moved at an extraordinary speed. In just weeks, Harry was emotionally hooked, convinced that Meghan was his perfect match. Personally, I believe that his feelings were secured before they even met, just based on how he described his anxiety levels right before he met her and he was running late for their first date. I think when we break down the early days of their romance, we see that there's clear signs of love bombing, mirroring, and emotional enmeshment, and these are often used in toxic relationships. In my opinion, their romance isn't just a love story, it's a case study in how emotional manipulation works. This is why I like to talk about Harry and Meghan, because they are a great illustration for how vulnerable people, regardless of intelligence, can fall for these tactics. In Harry and Meghan's case, Meghan positioned herself as Harry's rescuer, reinforcing his insecurities and making him feel like she was the only person who truly understood him. This made it easier for her to control the relationship, creating an intense dependency that isolated him from others. If you've ever been in a relationship that moved too fast, felt too perfect, or left you feeling emotionally trapped, you are not alone. I've been through it as well, several times actually, with my longest being my 11-year marriage. To start off this video, I'm going to read a short passage from Tom Bauer's book Revenge that inspired me to make this video. The passage is in chapter 14 and it's on page 126 if you have the book to read along. The passage begins: 2 weeks later, Meghan flew to Botswana for a second bush holiday with Harry. Living secretly in a tented camp overlooking a river and lush hills, their 5 days were filled with watching the wild animals, swimming, and eating. Following in the footsteps of Chelsea Davy and Cressida Bonus, she was the fourth girlfriend Harry had taken to Botswana. Like them, Meghan was the type to whom Harry could confess his secrets. He could fall in love with her because she could save him from what he feared about himself. It was absolutely amazing to get to know her as quickly as I did. Those days were crucial to me to make sure we really got to know each other. By the time they returned to London, they had agreed that in the future, while keeping their relationship a secret, they should not be apart for more than 2 weeks, and the passage ends there. This passage perfectly outlines how Harry was vulnerable to rapid enmeshment, to idealizing his partner, and to manipulation. Meghan likely saw his emotional wounds and positioned herself as the cure, making it easy for him to fall deeply and quickly. The advantage that Meghan had is that Harry's life was so public. She knew going in the types of things she could exploit. Luckily, you and I may not have these types of vulnerabilities out in the open. This is why I advise people to not give away too much information when you're dating someone or when you meet someone in the beginning. These are things that they can use later against you, or they can use them to manipulate you. I know it feels really good to be able to share things with people that you just meet, but it's also important to stay cautious. So, from this passage, we can tell that Harry has a pattern of seeking emotional rescuers. The passage talks about how he's taken 4 other women, or 4 women total, to Botswana, and how he could see a future with Meghan, and how, just like he saw a future with the other 2 women mentioned, Chelsea Davy and Cressida Bonus. This passage suggests that Harry saw Meghan as someone who could save him from what he feared about himself. Megan positioned herself as his safe space, someone who understood his pain and struggles in a way that no one else had. From their early interviews, Megan consistently reinforced the idea that she knew exactly what he needed and provided unwavering emotional support. I think she likely validated his pain about losing his mother and feeling like the spare, positioning herself as his protector from royal constraints. In one of my very first conversations I had with the Sidley twins, we talked about this specifically. Did Harry feel like a spare before he met Meghan? I think maybe underlying there may have been tones of that, but I think Meghan really brought this out in him. So, why and how do some people develop a pattern of seeking emotional rescuers? I'm going to expand on this because I feel that many of us can connect with these vulnerabilities. This topic alone is huge, so I'm going to summarize it as best as I can. The first one is childhood emotional neglect or abandonment. If someone grew up in a home where their emotional needs were ignored, dismissed, or minimized, they may subconsciously seek a partner who makes them feel seen and valued. They long for a person who provides the validation and security they never received from caregivers. The second is low self worth and external validation. People who struggle with self esteem often look for a partner to complete them, believing that love from another person will heal their wounds. They may feel unworthy unless they are needed by someone, making them prioritize relationships over their own well being. An example of this is someone who believes they are hard to love might feel special when a partner showers them with attention, even if it's manipulative. The third reason is a fear of being alone. Many who seek emotional rescuers have an underlying fear of abandonment, making them cling to relationships even when red flags appear. This fear can come from past experiences of loss, rejection, or instability in relationships. For example, someone who was cheated on or left suddenly in a past relationship may overcompensate by seeking a partner who promises constant devotion. The fourth reason are these romanticized notions of love and fixing people. Some people believe that true love means healing a broken person, making them drawn to partners who appear damaged, troubled, or in need of saving. This creates an unhealthy dynamic where they ignore their own needs in an attempt to fix or help their partner. For example, a person dating someone with destructive behaviors may stay because they believe if I love them enough, they will change. And finally, there could be repeated toxic relationship patterns. If someone has been in these types of relationships before, they might confuse intensity for love and mistake love bombing for genuine affection. They might seek chaos or drama because it feels familiar, even if it's toxic. So, this could be someone that, if their past partners were controlling or manipulative, a new partner's possessiveness may feel like proof of deep love rather than a red flag. I next want to address the question of how someone who is seeking emotional rescuers might be more vulnerable to narcissists. Narcissists are masters of love bombing, showering their victims with excessive attention and affection. To someone seeking emotional rescue, this feels like a dream come true. Finally, someone sees their worth. But once they're hooked, the narcissist withdraws affection, leaving them desperate to win it back. Narcissists also mirror their victims' desires, making them feel like they found their perfect match. And this is why it's important to not share too much too early, because your desires, your needs, and wants are something that the narcissist can mirror. So they could present themselves as the only person who truly understands and values their partner. And this reinforces emotional dependency, making the victim less likely to see red flags or to leave. Unfortunately, narcissists may also manipulate the fear of abandonment. They could use hot and cold behavior to keep their victims chasing approval. When a victim fears being alone, they rationalize that this toxicity and manipulation is better than risking to lose the relationship. For example, a narcissist might say, "No one will ever love you like I do," making the victim feel trapped. Because emotional rescuers feel responsible for saving their partners, a narcissist exploits this by making them feel guilty for wanting to leave. The victim convinces themselves that their love can heal the narcissist even when their own needs are neglected. This could turn into the narcissist turning around and saying something like, "You know I have trust issues. If you really loved me, you wouldn't give up on me." And one of the most dangerous things of all is that narcissists isolate their victim from support systems. Once they secure emotional control, they subtly or overtly distance their victim from friends and family. The victim is left relying entirely on the narcissist for love and validation. They may use statements like, "Your friends don't really care about us, they just want to ruin what we have." I think these are statements that Meghan used a lot with Harry to isolate him from his family and friends. So, what are some things that you can do if you feel that you're seeking emotional rescuers? How do we break this cycle? The first is recognize your own worth. Learn to validate yourself rather than relying on others for emotional fulfillment. Second, look for healthy love. Love should feel steady and secure and not intense and unpredictable. Third, trust actions and not words. If someone showers you with love early on but slowly starts withdrawing, pay attention. Fourth, work on self healing. Therapy, self reflection, and breaking past patterns can help prevent falling into another toxic relationship. And also, build a strong support system. Stay connected to friends and family who can offer objective perspectives. Now, going back to Harry and this passage in Tom Bower's Revenge. Other than Harry seeking emotional rescuers, what else contributed to this rapid relationship? I think we know that Meghan love bombed and idealized Harry. The Botswana trip was a classic love bombing scenario. They were in a secluded, romantic location where he was probably showered with lots of attention and validation. Megan probably made him feel like their connection was once in a lifetime, reinforcing this idea that their love was meant to be. In their engagement interview, Harry actually confirms this. He described how Meghan made everything feel so easy and natural from the start. This is a sign of intense idealization. How could this translate into your own life? Maybe you met someone who right away said things like, "I've never met anyone like you," or "I feel like I've known you forever." They might have planned elaborate dates early on or spent every waking moment with you, making you feel like you were their world. But once they had you hooked, the attention started to fade and they became more controlling. Going back to Harry, what was the role of Harry's past relationships? Both Chelsea Davy and Cressida Bonus reportedly struggled with the pressures of royal life and chose to walk away. Meghan, however, played the opposite game. She appeared to be fully on board with royal duties at first, making Harry believe she was different from his exes. To me, this sounds like future faking. I've done videos about this before, but maybe I need to come back and do another one about this. So, what did this result in? This made Harry trust her more deeply because she was the one who stayed when others didn't. If you've ever been with someone who subtly put down your exes, saying things like, "I would never treat you like they did," or "I can handle what they couldn't," it's a manipulation tactic. It makes you feel like they're your perfect match because they're supposedly everything your past partners weren't. I think Harry was also looking for stability. He's openly discussed his struggles with mental health, grief, and feeling like an outsider. I think Meghan capitalized on this by positioning herself as his emotional anchor. I had started a series analyzing articles from roughly 2015 to 2016 about Harry and came up with a couple of things that Meghan may have said or manipulated based on these articles. I should probably go back to doing this series. I think I did maybe 3 videos like this. I think she probably reinforced the idea that he couldn't trust his family, making herself his only source of stability. And over time, he became completely reliant on her, making it easier for her to control him. So, is this something you may have experienced in your life? Have you ever been with someone who slowly convinced you that no one else truly cared about you? Maybe they said things like, "Your family doesn't understand you like I do," or "Your friends are jealous of what we have." This isolates you from your support system and makes you dependent on them. Another thing we've seen between Harry and Meghan is this soulmate narrative, and this can be used as a manipulation tactic. Harry and Meghan constantly push this love at first sight narrative, emphasizing how quickly they fell for each other. This idea of no more than 2 weeks apart is an early sign of emotional enmeshment, something that seems romantic but actually fosters dependency. Meghan reinforced the idea that their love was once in a lifetime, discouraging him from questioning anything about their relationship. If you've ever dated someone who made you feel like your relationship was fate and that questioning anything would ruin it, you might have been love bombed. Maybe they pressured you into making big commitments early, moving in together, getting engaged because, in quotation marks, when you know, you know. But real love doesn't need to be rushed. Manipulation, however, thrives in urgency. We also know Harry and Meghan kept their relationship secret, and I think this intensified their bond. Keeping it secret makes it feel even more special. It also allowed Meghan to control how the relationship progressed, focusing solely on their connection without outside perspective. I think this created an us against the world mentality, and that set the foundation for later isolating Harry from his family and friends. I can actually attest to this because my relationship with my ex husband was exactly like this. We kept it secret, and it made it feel like it was so special. You look back on it, and when I make these videos, I make revelations about my own life and my own history. And it's like every single thing that I have said in this video, it's like check, 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 check. Either I had experienced those things, making me the person that was seeking an emotional rescuer, and it describes him perfectly. So I want to end this video with a fictional story, and it's titled Trapped in a Fairy Tale. Jenna had always been a hopeless romantic. After a string of disappointing relationships, she told herself she was done with love until she met Ryan. It happened fast, almost too fast. One night, she was scrolling through her Instagram DMs when his message popped up. It said, "I don't know why, but I feel like I was meant to find you." It was cheesy for sure, but something about him felt different. Within days, they were texting nonstop. Within a week, they had their first date, an extravagant rooftop dinner Ryan planned for just the two of them. He said, "I've never felt this way before," while staring into her eyes. Jenna felt the same. It was like something out of a movie. 2 weeks in, Ryan whisked her away on a surprise getaway to a secluded cabin in the mountains. No distractions, no outside world, just them. He whispered as they watched the stars, "I don't want to be apart from you for too long." That night, he told her his deepest secrets about his childhood drama, his trust issues, and his fear of abandonment. "You're the only one who understands me," he said. Jenna felt honored and special. She had never felt so needed before. Then came the rules. It started small. "Do we really have to go out with your friends tonight? I just want it to be us." So she canceled. Then he said, "Your mom doesn't really support us, does she? I feel like she doesn't get what we have." She pulled away from her family. 3 months in, Jenna barely recognized her life. She was spending all her time with Ryan, her world revolving around his needs. When she tried to bring up how fast things were moving, he turned cold. "I thought we were soulmates," he said. "Are you saying I was wrong about us?" She doubted herself. Maybe she was being ungrateful. Maybe he really did love her that much. Until one night, she found herself crying in her car, parked outside her old best friend's house, the friend she hadn't seen in weeks because Ryan always found a reason to keep her away. For the first time, she saw the pattern, the love bombing, the control, the isolation. It wasn't love, it was a trap. And just like that, the fairy tale shattered. And this is where the story ends. Let's break down the manipulation tactics that happened in this story. The first is love bombing and idealization. Ryan came on strong with intense admiration, gifts, and extravagant gestures. He made Jenna feel like she was his soulmate right away. Next, he mirrored and emotionally enmeshed with her. He quickly opened up about his trauma, making her feel like she was the only one who could save him. Jenna started to feel responsible for his happiness. He also created an us against the world mentality. He subtly turned her against her friends and family, making her feel like they didn't support their love. She pulled away from her loved ones without even realizing it. He also used guilt and emotional manipulation. The moment Jenna questioned the relationship, Ryan made her feel guilty. He framed her doubt as betrayal by saying, "I thought we were soulmates." Many people have experienced a relationship that started as a dream but quickly became a nightmare. I'm curious to know what you think about all of this. If you feel comfortable, please share it in the comments. If this video was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you will get an alert when new videos are dropped. I want to thank you all so much for listening, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye, everyone.